All right, we're here with marketing strategist Miro Kopik from SDSU and Bottom Line Marketing. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Priya.
All right, so let's start with Apple. It just had its big reveal event, and while new iPhones are usually the headline of those events, that wasn't the case this year, right? What direction is the company heading in here?
Well, the company, other than their new iPhone 11, is $50 cheaper than the iPhone X from last year, which is big news for consumers. The big news is actually Apple TV Plus. They launched their new streaming service with big fanfare. They're going to launch it on November the 1st, which is before the Disney service, which was announced to launch around Thanksgiving. They're charging only $4.99 a month versus $6.99 for Disney, or $12.99 for their premium version with Hulu, or $12.99 for Netflix. They're making a huge commitment in content. They're going to spend over $6 billion in content. In fact, they're trying to create a whole category of what they call prestige TV. And so what they're doing is also making it really easy for consumers. Families can be on the plan, up to 6 people with their own ID and password. And if you buy an Apple device, so they're encouraging to be involved in the Apple ecosystem, an iPad, an iPhone, a computer, you get the service for free. So it gives you a great trial opportunity because they're a little bit behind everybody else. They don't have the content, but they're going to start with 9 series. They're going to add at least a series every month, and they're going to scale up really fast. And Apple has a lot of loyal consumers and customers. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to look at Apple as a streaming alternative.
Yeah, those streaming services certainly seem to be the way of the future. We've definitely talked about it more than once here on the Friday Business Report. Now, moving on to a little bit of a different subject, let's talk about Zillow. I heard that the real estate website is offering to buy homes directly from sellers. How does that work?
Yeah, they have a new service called Zillow Offer. It's in 16 markets already. San Diego's the newest market, and it's pretty simple. You can go online, answer some questions, submit a form. Within 2 days, you'll get a no obligation offer to buy your home, and you can close it as quickly as 5 days to 90 days. So potentially very attractive, but they charge a service fee. So unlike a broker commission, which is around 5 to 6%, they're going to charge 7.5%. If you're you have the money, you can do the upgrades. It's better to go with a real estate agent if you're in a desirable neighborhood because you could probably get more money than you would from Zillow. There are a lot of companies who are doing this already. There's a couple of companies called, one is called OfferPad, one is called Open Door. Open Door has already bought 10,000 houses around the country. They're just not in San Diego yet. With Zillow, they've already purchased about 3,000 homes, so it's a big deal.
Yeah, pretty fascinating stuff, I think. From the seller's perspective, that convenience factor could be an incentive for sure. And let's move on to, this was a huge talker this week, AB 5, big news here in California. Tell us a little bit more about this bill and how it might change things for gig economy workers and companies like Uber and Lyft.
Yeah, this is a really complex bill that may have unintended consequences, but the gist of it is that for a long time, there's been this fraying relationship between employers and employees. Employers are looking for contract workers. They're offloading the benefit costs, the employer costs of Social Security and Medicare to employees. So the net take-home package in many cases is a lot less. And so employees have said, look, we should be employees. The Supreme Court ruled narrowly, the state of California, in favor of classifying these employees, these gig contract workers, as employees. So the legislature has followed suit. All these workers that they have that are working for 40 hours or more should become employees. They get a minimum wage, they get some benefits, and it's a really positive thing. It might reduce some flexibility for workers. So now if I'm committed, I'm an employee for one company, if I'm a Uber driver and I drive for Lyft or other ride-sharing services, I really can't do that. Additionally, the major issue is that it really can impact the way companies do business. All of a sudden, if Uber and Lyft have to take on 20% additional costs on increased benefits or paying Social Security and Medicare taxes, that's going to substantially impact the way they do business. Other companies that will be affected are companies like Google and Facebook. They hire thousands of contractors who work full-time on their businesses, developers, programmers, and whatnot. They will also be affected. So industry has been really wary of this bill, but there's a big disconnect because the cost of living in California is so relatively high. And if an individual who then is seen as a self-employed individual has to pay out all these costs, living in California becomes much more challenging.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to watch to see how it all shakes out. Well, Miro Kopik, thanks so much for breaking down all these complex topics as usual. Miro Kopik from SDSU and Bottom Line Marketing. Thank you.
Thanks, Priya.